about in the agenda?
He is after public comments.
Okay.
You know, Mayor, she's coming.
Hey, Rich. All right, all right, all right. Goodbye. Good evening, citizens of Louisburg Council, and welcome to our January 14th meeting of the Louisburg Town Council. And we'll begin by having our roll call.
Mayor Neal,
Here,
Councilman Stover,
Here.
Councilwoman Woods. Here. Councilwoman Stein. Here. Councilwoman Wright. Here. Councilwoman Baker. Here. Councilman Clancy.
Here. Thank you. Second item is the invocation. Could we stand and Councilwoman Wright, give us our invocation, please?
You're able to stand. Most holy, everlasting, eternal God, our Heavenly Father, once again, we're thanking you for a new year. Thank you, Lord, for those that have come out this evening to be about the town's business. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us here safely. And please, Lord, take us home safely. Lord, just be in our hearts and our minds and let us know why we are here, just to help the people in Louisburg. Thank you, Lord, for everything you're doing for us and what you have yet to do. These and other blessings in your most precious and holy name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Item number 4 on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda for this evening. Could I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Okay.
I'd like between items, let's see, 12 and 13 or 16 and 17, and a report on the EDC.
Okay. So we'll place that at between item 15 or 16.
Like right after 16, if you want after the fire report.
Okay. Okay. A motion to amend the agenda to add again.
Report on the EDC, the
Okay.
Economic Development Committee.
Okay. Okay, an amendment has, a motion has been made to adopt the agenda to add an item, which would be after the fire report for the EDC. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Oh, did we get a second for that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could I get a second for that motion? Okay. It has been moved and properly second that we added item 17 on the agenda there. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so added. Okay. No. We need okay, item number 5. A motion to approve the minutes. We have 4 minutes to approve our November 12th closed session, the December 10th, 2024 regular meeting, as well as the closed session, December 12th, special call meeting for our water study, and December 16th, 2024, special call meeting, closed meeting there. If no other corrections on that, could I get a motion to approve those minutes for those dates?
The only thing I would point out, there were a few grammatical errors on the closed session minutes. They're minor, but you might want to go through and correct those. But
Okay.
other than that, I would move they be approved.
Okay. Which,
I second that.
and what closed meeting was that? What date was that?
The big one.
The November 12th close.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. It's been moved and properly second that we adopt the minutes with the exception of the correction of the minor errors as was indicated. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
Okay. Item number 6, public comment section. Citizens, this is the time where you can come forth for 3 minutes and state any, if you have any comments or anything that you would like the council to know, you can do that at this time. And I have some on the list there that was out front. And we'll start with Miss Joyce Neff.
Joyce Neff, 203 John Street. I'm glad to see that the White Flag Shelter is on the agenda tonight. I'm, of course, in favor of it. And the only thing I wanted to say about that, just in case, is that we very often, when we discuss it, we get confused about just what it is. It's a temporary place for inclement weather, over 100 degrees or under, I don't know, 30, I guess. And people leave in the morning. And so we sometimes get confused and we start talking about homeless shelters. That's not related to this. I just wanted to make that clear. And also to say, in thinking about Western North Carolina and California, I'd be very curious to know what our emergency plan is, not only for the town, but for the county as well. If that could be something we could learn about in the future, and hopefully the near future, because things happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Bobby Cooper.
Good evening. Bobby Cooper, 701 North Main Street. Couple of things. My family's been here for 19 years, almost 19 years. And one thing that we recognized when we got here is that there seemed to be a tendency to push away growth. And that has not changed, unfortunately. The Franklin County now is the fastest growing county around the RTP, Raleigh-Durham. We're also the fourth fastest growing county in the state. And our surrounding towns are thriving. Unfortunately, we're under scrutiny of the LGC. We're overly in debt. Our taxes have increased, but they're increasing because of the debt and not because of increased values. Values have increased on the somewhat of a basis of demand and somewhat of a basis of inflation. Then that spirals into the next thing, is that we should be prospering as a community, and we're not. And it seems to me that we're trying to build a dependent class because the governance here believes that you can spend our money better than we can. And so I believe that the problems that we're trying to solve in regards to affordable housing, white flag shelters, homelessness, etc., are rooted in overgovernment and not prosperity and private growth. Thank you. Do you agree?
No.
Next is Tuck Taylor.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I'm Tuck Taylor. I live at 406 North Main Street. And to quote Mahatma Gandhi, and that was echoed by Thomas Jefferson, the true measure of any society is how we treat the weakest among us. And so I'm so happy to hear that the council is considering ways that we can maybe have a white flag shelter here for those in our community who are the weakest among us, and on nights when it is 20 degrees outside, are living in the park or sleeping in the park or somewhere else. To show our support, Louisburg United Methodist Church, for which I am the pastor, joyfully the pastor there, wants to show that we support what your efforts are. And I have here a spreadsheet of 61 names who signed up to say they would support a white flag community either by spending the night, providing food, providing some money, just being company, helping set up the shelter as needed. 22 of those said they would spend the night. About half of those are female and half of those are males. I don't think the issue that I see as a pastor is huge, but I do think I know that we have at least a handful of people. Our church has put a woman up in, I say our church along with 2 other pastors in the community, has put a woman who was sleeping in the park last week in a hotel for 6 nights. It is a problem, and I hope that we as a town will take seriously the charge to care for those who are the weakest among us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the last one is Lars Caparia. I hope I pronounced that right. Kate there. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Neal. Lars Caper, 106 North Pastures. I also represent the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We have members in a congregation here in Louisburg, Jonesville, Franklinton. And want to thank you for your bringing up this shelter opportunity with the White Flag Shelter, and just to give you some experience as a faith-based organization of how we address these things. And it needs to be a combination of government, nonprofits, and faith communities to tackle these problems, because they're not easy. And personal example of people we know that are homeless now, and I think of the 2 great commandments to love God and love our neighbor. We try to put that into action. And that's what I see you guys doing here, is one step towards that. By doing so, I think of examples that I know personally of grandparents raising their grandchildren because their daughter's stuck in addiction and homeless in Durham right now because she has no place else to go. And when we think about those issues, clearly there's big problems here, whether it's addiction or joblessness or escalating rents or abusive relationships, anything that can cause somebody to become homeless. This is just one step to it. And together, we can look at ways to address those issues as a collective group. And I think of programs we have around self-reliance or training or jobs. And I encourage you to continue to look at the programs to address the root cause of this. And obviously, policing has to happen, but we can try to get to the root cause, because that person that's an addict wasn't always an addict. That's somebody's child, and somebody loves them. And what you're doing is a great step forward, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And we will definitely support in many ways through volunteers or donations or other things. And then there's other programs we can look at. We just had a meeting that Mayor Neal was invited to last week with interfaith groups, nonprofits, and government leaders. We had several state representatives there that were very committed to this issue, particularly Representative Robertson down just south of us, and a new Representative Sheetzelds, who's North Wake County and Wake Forest area. And there's great things we can do together. And I appreciate your step forward here. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Item number 7, swearing in of a new police officer. Something I would like, always enjoy doing.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
Council. As you know, earlier this year, we had 3 officers retire at the same time. We were lucky enough to have one officer already come on and fill one of those 3 voids. It's my honor to introduce Officer Robert Maxbauer III. He comes to us from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office. He's a retired Sergeant First Class of the United States Army. With him are his wife Stephanie and son Carson.
Pleasure to swear in another one of what we call the Louisburg finest. And this gentleman is to Robert Maxwell. Okay, and I'm gonna read this oath and ask you, just state your name. I. You allowed to please.
I, Robert Maxwell,
Okay, do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will be alert and vigilant
that I will be alert and vigilant
to enforce the criminal laws of this state,
to enforce the criminal laws of this state,
that I will not be influenced in any manner
that I will not be influenced in any manner
on account of personal bias or prejudice. On account of personal bias or prejudice. On account of personal bias or prejudice. That I will faithfully and impartially execute
that I will faithfully and impartially execute
the duties of my office as law enforcement officer
the duties of my office as a law enforcement officer
according to the best of my skill,
according to the best of my skill,
abilities, and judgment.
abilities, and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Mr. Robert, thank you for coming on board. Thank you. And just come in and we'll get this issue. Item number 8 on the agenda is the adoption of a resolution to amend the personnel policy, pornography policy. I stand corrected there. Item number 8, resolution to award upset bid for town property of Gayline Drive. Mr. Satterwhite.
Good evening, members of council, mayor. The resolution to award sale of parcels along Gayline Drive. The town conducted an upset bid for the sale of town-owned land along Gayline Drive, in which 3 parcels were created along Gayline Drive for the purpose of providing access to landlocked lots. This is a pretty standard procedure as pursuant to state statute announcing the bid through newspaper. And the successful bid was in the amount of $2,050 for 0.137 acres, $1,752 for 0.117 acres, and $900 for 0.06 acres.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Satterwhite on this? Okay, if not, can I get a motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we award an upset bid for town property on Gayline Drive. For those of you who are not necessarily familiar with Gayline Drive, it is the drive that's up off of 56, right beside the Domino.
And the big water tower. Louisburg.
Yeah, down that street there. There are some properties there that were landlocked that prevented entrance to those properties from Gayline Drive. That's the property where we were talking about now. Okay, and I get a motion to, okay, and it's been moved and properly second that we approve this upset bid. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, item number 9. Thank you. Adoption of resolution to amend the personnel policy, and this is pornography policy. Mr. Medley.
Mayor, Town Council, thank you. In front of you tonight, according to North Carolina General Statutes 143-805, the town should adopt a pornography policy that states that no device, whether it's stipend paid or actual equipment for the town no one should be accessing pornography in any fashion or anything that would promote that type of environment. And so in front of you tonight, we have a policy that we'd like to add to the personnel policy that states that no employee or elected official should engage in such activity while using town property. So I just need a motion to adopt the policy as it's presented.
All right, any questions to,
Did we have a policy or is this completely new
This is a new policy that came into effect in October of 2024
for the state?
per the state.
So in the documents that we were given, the one where the signature block is, it's dated November of 2024. So I'll assume that that will be amended to today's date. And within the policy, it states that the people are given a set amount of time. They reference in here no later than January 1st. Of course, because we're just now seeing this and adopting it, are we going to alter those dates also? I mean, we can't sign something in today and make it effective January 1st because that date has come and gone.
Exactly. No, we will adjust the dates accordingly.
So will it be effective today? And then will all the employees be given a copy of the policy?
Yes, they will.
Okay.
They will be. Each employee will receive a new copy of this.
okay, any other questions? If not, could I get a motion to approve? It's been moved and properly second that we adopt a resolution to amend our personnel policy to include a pornography policy in it as well. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 10, the budget amendment. Number 1, Mr. Medley.
Mayor, Town Council, thank you. In front of you tonight is a budget amendment. At last meeting, the town adopted a contract to remove some waste at T Kemp Road at our industrial park. This budget amendment rectifies the contract that we approved at our last meeting.
Any questions for Mr. Medley?
So wasn't the amount more than 25 or no? That we agreed upon?
No.
I thought it was like 35, wasn't it?
It was 35 and each amount, because there were different funds that were represented. These amounts are broken down by fund.
Any other questions?
So are you gonna go down, is it all of this pertains to that?
That this is the only thing related to that contract.
So you basically, we're just taking a little bit out of several different departments
Yes.
to, okay,
Yes, ma'am.
gotcha. Thank you.
I have a question. Most of these bullet points, it's pretty clear that they balance each other out, but for electric operations, there's a $50 difference. Is that intentional or is it?
No, it should be 12.5. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was just a typo on my part.
Has that all been cleaned up or is that still in the process?
It is cleaned. We got a notice that we're in compliance as of yesterday afternoon, about 5 o'clock, I think it was. Correctly, we got one about 5 o'clock yesterday.
We do this. Okay. Mark that off.
Okay, any other questions? If not, can we get a motion to approve? It's been moved and properly second that we approve the budget amendment for the moving, transferring some of the funds to handle that expense. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Right. Item number 11, discussion of the white flag shelter. Dr. Stover.
Thank you, Mayor. I passed out here for the meeting the proposal I'm making. So I apologize, I didn't get it to Ms. Perry in time to get it out in your packets, but I was attending the essentials of municipal government taught by the School of Government last week. So I was busy finding out how I'm supposed to do this job. Fortunately, I found out we seem to be doing it pretty well. Anyway, the proposal I'm making is the following. One, direct the town administrator to work with local churches and nonprofits to establish a white flag shelter using town facilities. Two, expenses other than normal wear and tear, the town of Louisburg would be limited to $1,500 per physical year unless further approval by the town council. I think you heard there is a tremendous need for this. Probably not a lot of folks, but there are definitely folks out there who are having to weather this awful weather that we're having. And I'm, I know there's some disagreement on this, but personally, I feel it is an obligation that we have as a council to see that these folks have a place to get out of the cold. There has been a lot of movement on this, as you heard what the Methodist Church has done. The Franklin County Interfaith Council has just appointed Kelly London as the chair of their homeless committee, and we're going to be meeting with her. I've been working with Mr. Medlin to meet any of the needs that he sees. And I think this is doable, and I think the issues that we have brought up in the past can be rectified, and we will be working through those with the help of the folks that you heard from earlier to get this set up in a way that is both beneficial to those citizens that need this help, but at the same time protects the financial well-being of the town. So I make that as a proposal.
Okay, so you're making that a motion?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions related to that?
I'll get the party started. So where's the location?
Well, that's to be determined.
Okay. So
It sounds like this is to just give the go-ahead to begin conversations, and I feel more comfortable knowing we have this fairly low considered financial limit, so if bigger questions came up, we could address that, but this at least gets some things in motion to see what might be possible without sticking our necks out too far.
Get back to you. I think the two most likely locations where we're at right now in the operations center, but I think that's something that has to be worked out.
Okay, any other questions?
So we heard from the Methodist Church this evening, and there's other churches that are involved in this.
Interfaith
obviously,
Council represents quite a few churches.
but they're not willing to host.
No, the problem with that is this, that most church facilities are being used at the time that we would need them. To give you an example, the Louisburg Church, we have the largest fellowship hall in Franklin County, but that fellowship hall is being used most evenings. So the space isn't available when we need it for the shelter. And if we were to do that, we'd be forcing out other important activities where the facilities that we're talking about in the town are rarely being used at those times.
So will any of this, and I'm sure this will be part of the conversation, will any of this be facilitated by town employees?
I don't anticipate that, no.
It was stated by some of them, they have the volunteers.
And the Methodist Church alone has come up with 60. And you heard that the Latter-day Saints are, they're interested in working with us. There are multiple other churches. There are the Interfaith Council. There are several other nonprofit organizations in town that are interested in working on this. So I think we'll have an abundance of volunteers.
So if you have an abundance of means, then why is it that you guys don't pull together and find a source that is not connected with the town for an avenue of a building? Why a town
Okay,
building?
that is a major expense that we don't readily have right now. The town has the space, all right? And frankly, I think it is incumbent on us to facilitate this private-public cooperation. All right, the town has the space. The space is not being used most of the times when this is needed. It's not going to be a great expense of the town to allow this space to be used. So it facilitates being able to go ahead with this. If these organizations had to come together to find a space like this, I mean, space like this could cost a couple $100,000. And it isn't readily available here in town. There are movements afoot to look for a space like this, but that's not going to happen overnight. This space is readily available now.
The concern I have about it is the liability to the town.
Hundreds of other organizations and towns are doing this throughout the country, and they don't seem to be able to have any major liability issues.
And the other thing is, if you make an accommodation for the White Flag Shelter, then you're opening yourself up, as far as us as a town, I feel, to accommodate any other organization that wants to use a town facility for whatever they want to follow. What's that?
I don't see that at all. I mean,
So-
we're making a specific.
So if you have another organization that comes to the town and they want to use a facility after hours,
Then we would decide that on a case-by-case basis.
well, but I think you're setting a precedent and opening it up to the fact that you're going to have to accommodate all organizations.
I disagree.
And we as a council have the authority to say yes or no. We're specifically talking about just one thing, and that's white flag, not anything else. And that and it has been stated it's only limited use. See, last night would have been a night that it would have been in place. Now, tomorrow it could be 60 or 70 degrees. So therefore, there would not be any use of it. And it's extremely limited. And just have something where the citizens can have just simply a roof over their heads for no more than just 24 hours. It will be well policed, well staffed, and you have these organizations that are coming forth offering to make this a success with us. And it's just a matter of just limited partnership with them for a limited amount of time to do this. And we'll be helping the citizens as well.
I think it would be better for the town. This is just me. I think it would be better if the town wanted to be involved in this and have a part in it, to possibly help with it financially, but to take us out of the liability aspect of it. And I still think that we would be obligated to have employees present in a town facility with something going on. I think if the town was going to financially support it, but not be obligated to the fact of facilitating it, I think that would be better for the town. To put it in the budget to financially give towards it. But to be expected to facilitate a facility for it, I still feel like the liability issue of it, but also I feel like we would have to have town employees in the building when it was going on.
Those spaces are rented out sometimes, and town employees are not there when they have events there. Because I've been to a birthday party at the training center before, and no town employees were there. So I don't think they would have to be there because it's a town facility. When you run a building, that doesn't mean all the time that the person is always there.
Maybe there's some possibility in arranging, like, where this, say, the Interfaith Council, for example, is the sponsor, where you should maybe lease it from us for nominal out, but then they would have to assume the liability and get whatever insurance coverage.
But I also know
But that
that
would
when
help
the
protect
town
us.
rents the operations center, it's the town responsibility to clean it up and actually get it ready for whatever functions it's being rented for.
So that means when the people who are using it, they are obligated also to clean it up. So whenever they're finished, they clean it up, pack it up and keep going.
I've always been told the town is responsible for it. That's all. I'm not arguing.
I've rented out before and I've been to events there and I've seen,
I'm sure that could be written into the agreement.
exactly. I mean, those things are feasible. It's right to put in there.
My biggest concern is people that are released from the jail, people that are released from the mental health facility, and they don't have anywhere to go. Not that my heart doesn't go out for the people that need a place, a warm place to stay, but I see this as not the responsibility of the town. It's not the responsibility of the taxpayers of this town in any way. And I think that this is for a private organization or organizations to gather together and facilitate, but I don't see this being a function or an action of the town. That's my own.
What if we amend your proposal, which line item number 1 says, direct the town administrator to work with local churches and nonprofits to establish a white flag shelter using town facilities, instead of saying using town facilities to consider use of town facilities. That way we're not obligated to it. I like it because it does move the conversation forward. $1,500. You said yourself you're okay with some financial sponsorship, but I agree. I'm worried about liability. We'd have to check back in with our insurance carrier, who didn't seem to be big fans of it last year, from what I understand. That at least start the conversations again, but again, not obligate us to too terribly much before we know what we're getting into.
That's your prerogative, I disagree.
I mean, it doesn't rule out use of it, but it doesn't obligate us if we were to approve it tonight.
I'm ready to obligate us to you.
Yeah, our attorney brought up a good point that I don't know if that our insurance carrier has been consulted again.
Well, we can, during the discussion, as we discussed with these nonprofits, these issues that was raised, I'm sure we can hopefully work out something. The overall objective is just simply to just get citizens out of the cold. And I'm sure with all of the people that are involved with this, we can figure out a way that will be in the best interest of everybody, as well as resolve a liability risk for the town as well.
What I seem to don't understand is, I understand, Dr. Sturr, what you said about the Methodist Church being busy with the fellowship hall and everything, but there's other churches in town. Could they possibly step up? What's that?
That's true of most churches. Most churches' facilities are being used in the evenings for their other activities. All right. They're not readily available for something like this, which is on a demand basis. So no, church facilities are generally being used, particularly the ones that are big enough to meet the needs of this.
My concern stands with the screening of the individuals.
Anybody screening of individuals out in that cold weather can affect someone. Anybody would have a need to get out of the cold weather. And it's not a matter of them, just because they need to get a place where they have to lay their head, where there's some warmth or some degree of comfort for just a matter of hours, does not mean that they want to bring crime, all of that in with them. And I think the town, as we as individuals, as has been stated, we do have an obligation to help the citizens. You took an oath. I took an oath to help the citizens of Louisburg. Now, there could be a citizen walking the street now who is a citizen of Louisburg who may need to get out of the cold for 12 hours. We have an obligation to that citizen per our oath.
For our oath, if they're dropped off here from another
No,
community,
no,
is that our oath?
I did not say that.
No,
I
I'm just
said
asking, where
citizen.
did
I
that
said
stop?
there's a citizen here in Louisburg.
Okay, but what I'm saying is the people that are dropped off at the mental health facility, most of them are not, they come from all over this state and they're dropped off.
I did not say that. I said
When they're
citizens of
released.
Lewisburg. I said citizens
So
of
what are you
Lewisburg.
gonna do? Ask for an ID when they walk in the door? What deep?
We need, we as I think we are obligated to help people in need. I think we are obligated to help citizens in need, and I think we are smart enough, all of us, to find some answer to this problem. And it's a minor issue. It's not like it's going to be, well, hopefully, it's not going to be below zero for 30 to 60 days.
I don't think the concern about liability and risk to our insurance, so we do have a fiduciary obligation. So I agree with all the humanitarian aspects of it, that I do want to help these people, but we have to consider what financial burden, or maybe we get dropped by our insurance carrier because we move ahead with something. That's why I would just like to amend it to say the consideration of town facilities.
Yeah.
So we can check that out.
Yeah.
Maybe it is fine.
Something to the degree that does not hinder the overall goal, and that's just simply just getting a person or a family out of the cold. How we do that, you know, I'm sure we can come up with some solution.
Like to call for the question.
Okay. All right.
I just say one thing to say, and that's it. I left a warm house to come out here tonight. Any person in this room can be in the same situation in less than 24 hours. If the power go off, your heat get cut off, something happens to your furnace, you can be in the same predicament. And are you want to stay in your cold house, or do you want to have a place you can go and get a little heat? Don't think because you have arrived and have left that warm house, it won't happen to you. I'm sure the people in Ashford never thought it would happen to them. The people in California thought that would never happen to them. So why are we so high and mighty?
Could I get a motion to move forward with proposal to establish white flag shelter? You made the motion, Doctor? Can I get a second?
Second motion.
It's been moved and properly second that we move forward with the, would like to make the amendment to that, or just include that in there to?
I would like to amend it to say considering the use, but not instructing that it should be the use. It doesn't exclude the possibility, but it leaves a little more flexibility without completely obligating us before we have more information.
That way it would,
That requires a second.
And so I move that we adopt the proposal with an amendment to the line item number 1 to say considering the use of town facilities, but not, I guess, obligating it.
second.
Need to say, okay, yes.
It's been moved and properly second that we move forward. See, the overall objective in the question that I want to just make sure is that we do not lose sight of what we want to do. And we can definitely find an answer on how we can move forward where everybody would be satisfied and still achieve the goal of providing some form of relief to citizens in their time of need in cold weather or hot weather.
So we're now voting on the amendment.
Yeah.
Who's second now?
Good. Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No. Well, that was the amendment. Not
Okay.
So only 2 of us voted to accept the amendment. Okay.
So just two, no?
It was 3 no's. go with Quincy and Stein.
No, it's my amendment. I do, but I only heard us speak.
So that's done.
So we still need to move to accept the amended proposal.
Say again?
So we still need to vote on the amended proposal. We accept the amendment.
Passed, now
Yeah.
we need to vote on the original motion with the amendment.
Okay. All right, could I get a motion in a second?
We already have a motion.
Yeah, we're already inside.
Okay.
of it. It's been
All right,
seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Okay,
Okay. So it passed.
excuse me, it's my opinion, and I don't judge you when you, it's right there, that's who you need to be banging at.
Look, I'm
She
banging
started
it, I'm banging it for the whole council.
Start with
Okay.
her.
I'm banging it for the whole council. So let's move forward on the next one. Thank you, council. Number 12. Discussion to purchase a transportation vehicle. Mr. Stokes.
Again, this was in the handout. The proposal is that we approve the purchase of a used 19-passenger school bus from Franklin Warren Vance Opportunity for $500. And then direct the town administrator to develop a budget for an in-town shuttle, use the above by July 1, 2025. And the two, to determine the following: the best route, the preferred timing, whether or not to set up as an enterprise, college and local business support, grant funding, and handicap requirements. I have listed some justifications for the shuttle. This bus is one that we've talked about before. It is a 19-passenger school bus that was used for Head Start. It has been sitting idle now, I think, for about 2 years. I have gone up there with two of the mechanics from the school bus garage. They went over it, thought it was in great shape, thought it was an absolute steal. But we couldn't get it started because the batteries were dead. So I went back several weeks later with the supervisor of the school bus garage, and we got the bus started. We're able to move it. He went over it, agreed with his mechanics. It's in very good condition. As he said, it's just, you'd be crazy not to buy it. This thing is probably worth $25,000, $30,000, and they're only asking $500. What I'd like to do is move right now to get the bus. And I've talked with Mr. Bedlin. He does have money in the budget that we can use to get this. And then over the next 6 months, he and I will work on trying to set up this shuttle. My vision for this is, this would be a shuttle that would start, say, at Walmart. It would go down Main Street with about a half dozen stops, including the college, turn around and come back down Pickett Boulevard again with about a half dozen stops at the various businesses and shopping centers. The exact timing, we're going to run it every day. We run it just a few days a week, all that. I think it's something we have to work out in conjunction with the local business owners. I would also like to approach the college and some of these local businesses to see if they might be willing to contribute to the support of this. Possibly we could even consider having advertising on the side of it for some of our local businesses. The EDC has discussed this. They're all strongly in favor of it. And it would be the first regularly scheduled public transportation in Franklin County. This is something that's been sorely missing in this county. We don't even have an Uber or a taxi.
But isn't carts the same principle?
Carts is an on-demand. This is going to be a regularly scheduled. Now, what that schedule is going to be, we're going to have to determine. But this is totally different than carts. Now, carts, as the mayor can explain, because he's a carts driver, and I've been working with carts for 40 years. I mean, like he just gave me an example today at lunch. where he had two people in the back of his bus that were in wheelchair and four up front that were using walkers. Well, he had to take those two wheelchairs to the other side of the county and drop them off before he could bring those four back to Louisburg, because he had to get them off so he could get before the others could get off. So carts is a totally different type of situation. It's a great service, but it does not meet the needs of our town. This would provide transportation for folks that don't have a car or access to a car. All right. If you're in this county and don't have access to a car, you're in a world of hurt. It also would provide a way for the college students. I've talked with the, I forget her position, but basically kind of the dean of students. I don't think that's her official title. She was absolutely thrilled with the idea of having this, which would allow the college students then to be able to access, our shopping centers, Walmart, our downtown area. Something that I was not aware of, she told me, she says a lot of the college students are scared to walk through our neighborhood. These are most of them are African American, and there have been obviously some very bad outcomes with African Americans walking through quote unquote white neighborhoods. And so a lot of the college students won't walk downtown because they're afraid to walk through my neighborhood. I think that's probably not justified, but I'm not them. I can't speak for them, but that's something she pointed out to me. And I think this is something that also might help our tourists. I would like, I could see us maybe having some sessions where you'd have maybe a tour guide on board. It would do what you call it, basically talk about the historic structures here in Louisburg and point them out, our history with the Civil War and so on and so forth. So, and by decreasing the use of privately owned vehicles, that's going to be advantageous to both traffic safety and to decrease wear and tear on our streets. So that's my proposal.
So who will be driving this bus?
That's to be determined.
To be determined. And what's the carbon footprint on this bus?
It's a diesel. As far as reducing carbon emissions, the best way to reduce carbon emissions is to walk or ride a bicycle. The next best way is to use public transportation.
So will this be I know that you're working on a schedule, all day?
Well, that's what I said, that has to be determined.
Yeah.
That's why we need to meet with a lot of the community leaders and see. I don't anticipate starting out full day. I think you would probably more do it during times where you would expect the highest ridership.
Would there be a charge to people?
I would anticipate that, yes. That's one of the issues with whether or not we make it an enterprise or put it in the general budget. Sean and I talked about this. If you make it an enterprise, then it has to pay for itself. If we make it a general budget item, then we can have the option of subsidizing part, or say we want to have it free for out-of-town visitors. We can do that if it's in the general fund. It would be much harder to do that if it's an enterprise. So, these are the issues that have to be worked out. But, and before we institute this would all be worked out and brought back to the council for final approval.
Do you think it'd be better to have this all worked out before we spend the money to buy the bus?
No, because this bus could be bought right out from under us. I don't think there's much to lose. Paying $500 for a vehicle that's worth $25,000 to $30,000, how we lose? If we end up not using it, we can turn around and sell it. And even if we don't use it for this, it can be used for a lot of other purposes.
The college used to have a bus because they would take the students to the airport or
I don't believe they have that any longer.
Oh, they got rid of it.
I don't think wasn't a bus, it was a van.
It was like a shuttle
I
bus.
think they just have the athletic coaches and the small sedans that are maybe used by their application or admissions officers.
Well, my philosophy on this is if it's such a great idea, I suggest someone opens up a small business, goes to here and buys a $500 bus and gets busy charging people. It's, again, this is not something the town should be concerning themselves with. In the long run, it's just another expense in which, honestly, I think that considering our current situation, we should be trying to figure out how to resolve things instead of putting more things on our plate.
I'm for it for the point alone that if nothing else, we can flip it and potentially make a profit off this steal of a bus.
Any other comments from the council?
As someone who doesn't drive and considering older people who don't drive, this would be something great for people, especially our older people who needs to get to Walmart or get to the stores that do not drive. And this would be a great asset for the taxpayers who are citizens of Louisburg, who I think do deserve something like this because they are taxpayers and they go spend their money in Louisburg. And I think it's something that's good. And as you say, if we don't, I mean, flip the bus.
Any other discussion? If not, can I get a motion? It's been moved and properly second that we invest $500 on the bus to be used later as far as transportation for the town of Louisburg in the future. Now, this will not be, it's not going to be used immediately, but in time, and it could be a first step. And as stated, if it does not pan out, we can always sell. Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we spend $500 on this bus. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay. All right. Okay, item number, we go forward with the administrative report. Item number 13.
Mayor, Town Council, thank you. If you have not noticed, if you will write up Main Street, 124 North Main Street is under construction. If you've been by it, you've seen they've removed a lot of the plated glass and that was actually on the building. They've removed that and they're working diligently to get this building rehabbed. Sidewalks along Allen Lane are complete. Sidewalks along North Main will be delayed. Mr. Eugene Yarborough was scheduled to start this project at the beginning of January. However, with his unexpected passing, staff is working to secure another vendor. Our condolences to the Yarborough family. An update on Depot Hill is pre-bid meetings were scheduled for tomorrow. Those have been moved for a new date, and once that date is determined, I will provide that to the board. An audit update is I have worked since our last meeting to continue to provide the state, our auditors with required documentation to move the audit process forward. We have a tentative scheduled date to be able to provide a draft to council in March. They have worked diligently to help us move along this process. We have also been in touch with the local government commission. I have a weekly meeting with them just to let them know where we are and what we're doing. And they're pleased with our progress. So I just wanted to share that with you all.
Are they withholding our sales tax?
No, not at this point, no.
Has there been any discussion about that?
No.
Can I make one comment?
Sure.
At the meeting I just went to, I met with our local representative from the School of Government, and he reassured me that says you are not alone. He says there is a lot of towns having this problem because of having a great deal of difficulty getting a finance officer.
Just to give you a heads up, I most likely will provide a weekly update through email that just shares with you where we are and what we've done over the course of a week. That way everyone's on the same page. So we'll be sending out emails. If you're not receiving the emails, if you'll please let me know, we can get James, our IT person, to work with you to get those emails. And last but not least, town offices will be closed Monday, January 20th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
And just a little bit of addition to what he just said in the transparency. Again, I had sent a memo out last month after the agency came to the town and explained that to us, that any citizen that you may have any question as it relates to our financial condition, come to the town hall, and any questions that you may have can be answered by myself or the town manager, and not on social media. So you can debunk whatever you hear on social media. If you have any questions, come downtown. I just like to make that clear again. Thank you.
Mr. Medlin,
Yes.
I know that in the past when, oh boy, what was his name that came and gave us our audits?
Dale Place?
Yeah, Mr. Place. When Mr. Place came, it was a lot of information that he gave us that evening in a, the big binder of audit information. And it's helpful that he's standing there and he's given us an overview, but it's really hard to sit here. You don't have an opportunity to review anything. Is there any way that when we finally get our audit back, that we can provide that beforehand so that we have a chance to review the information so that, because it's hard to ask, they're here and it's hard to ask questions.
Sure.
I think that would be helpful.
I can request that of the auditor.
That would be helpful. And then last month, we made a motion regarding the town employees being paid their PTO time. And I just want to make sure that that's all been resolved.
Yes, ma'am, that has been resolved. I am actually providing Stephanie with those numbers. I went back and double checked, but I'll be providing those to her over the next couple of days.
Okay, so they haven't received it?
No.
Not yet. Okay. And one last thing. In the near future, maybe when the weather's slightly nicer, can we dedicate the park up on North Main Street? I think that family has been very patient with the town. I think that the least that we can do is dedicate the park and show our appreciation to them.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, next item is the mayor's report. Last month, the month of December, I did a few things. Normally, each month I deliver about 20 boxes of food to seniors. I've done that as well. Last week, had an opportunity to visit the seniors in their homes. This is something that they're really, really glad to have, and I'm glad to be one that could to deliver these boxes and see these smiling faces whenever they can't get out. They welcome it, and it's the time to listen to some of the things that they are talking about. And I go into what is called listening mode, and just just share with them, and knowing after I leave them that I've at least made their day, contributed in a positive way to their day. Also, I took part in the cleanup of the Adopter Highway for Miss Rosanelle Eaton. Worked on that last month as well. And also, I played Santa at a Christmas toy drive for dozens of kids at the Miles Magnolia, a facility out on Baldwin Murphy Road, in which we had about 400 different toys of all types from ages from 1 up to 14. There was something that was donated by the Marines in their toy drive, and I took part in that and was glad to be a part of that as well. And I read the traditional the night before Christmas for them as well, and of course took part in our annual Christmas tree lighting at the courthouse. And also was in the town's Christmas parade as well. So I had a lot of fun last month. So did that. So that's to the extent of my report as well. All right. Okay, the next is the police and fire report. Both have informed me that they are, well, at least the fire report said we can just look at his report in the, he's provided it in our packet there. And
Mayor, if I could take a moment to at least read a portion of the police report, because I know there has been some public concern about the log trucks on Main Street. I've been on this as well because I'm not used to seeing this many trucks on Main Street. The gist of it is because our 3 trucks are only posted at north and south entrances to Main Street. We can't enforce it if trucks enter via West River Road or some other entrance. We are working on getting new signs to post, but since DOT roads are involved, we've got to coordinate with them a bit. But hopefully in the next few weeks, we can get those signs posted and we'll see less of this heavy traffic.
The log trucks downtown have been a bit of a schnitzel. My question is only because one of those, sir, one of those signs is near where I live, but I see people with log trucks and different things. And I understand that this week there was a problem on Bickett and that was rerouting traffic, which I completely understand. But so is there action that's taken against the vehicles that should not be on Main Street that?
We actually thought there was at one point, which is why the signs were on either end of Main Street. Mr. Satterwhite can tell us.
After researching the code of ordinances, we don't have a specific ordinance that says no trucks through downtown. So that's something that we would need to write as a text amendment to say no trucks larger than a certain amount, certain capacity, 1 ton, or log trucks even could not pass through downtown.
You can have that ready for February?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
I know there's a lot of concern.
Yeah.
We're both concerned ourselves. Thank you. I'd really appreciate that.
If I may, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'll be very brief. This was going to be Chief Jason Abbott's last council meeting. Unfortunately, couldn't attend, but I wanted to invite mayor, council, and all town employees to his retirement party on January 31st, 6 o'clock.
Captain Lincoln, I have one other thing. One of the things that the citizens have been blowing my phone up about is, I know that we passed a town ordinance regarding fire lane, cars parked in the fire lane. The other day I was at Food Lion, emergency services were called and they couldn't even get near the building. Is that something that we are citing people for?
We have, yes. It's something that I can talk to our patrol and get them to step up enforcement and observation of those.
I think that the people would probably appreciate that because that's something that, I mean, that could turn ugly in a moment if emergency services can access the building. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Chief Lincoln, do you have any, would you like to say anything regarding your report? Okay. Chief Lincoln, you have anything you want to say? Okay. All right. Thank you. And they do have it in the packet, council, so we can use it further. All right. The next item is the EDC. Dr. Stover.
The EDC committee that met a week ago while I was down in New Bern attending this training session. I was able to set up a Zoom thanks to our IT department and participate. There were 4 main actions or discussions. First, we had a presentation from the Tar River Conservancy discussing how they might help us with developing some linear parks like along the riverfront between Main Street and Baker Boulevard. possibly even extending on to the, what is the water inlet, which would give us access to the new development going in at Green Hill. There was very, very strong sentiment, and they actually voted to send a letter, and I think that'll be forthcoming, that they are totally opposed to the closing of Johnson Street. I think that kind of goes right along with this council right now, Ceiling. There was a discussion about Person Place. For those of you that are not already familiar, the Person Place Society is having trouble getting younger membership, and they have turned the lease to Person Place back to the college. And it's sort of up in the air what's going to happen to Person Place. There was strong sentiment on the committee that we need to do something to keep this as a community asset. I think the consensus was that we ought to look at a joint venture between the town, the college, and the Place Society. Town possibly through our historic district commission. And so something I think we need to explore. And then finally, they have voted to now start having their meetings on the first Monday, so it'll be done before our meeting on the second Tuesday, so we will be able to make a regular report of what is going on in the EDC committee. Any questions? That ends my report.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item is the council comments. Councilman Clancy, would you like to share? Councilwoman Baker,
I don't have anything further either. Thank you.
Councilwoman Wright.
The only thing I would like to say is I thank everyone for being here this evening, and I did make one trip this month, and that was to the Emancipation Proclamation, which was held on January 1st. And other than that, it's staying.
Thanks for coming out. Stay warm. It's going to be cold for the next few days.
Okay, Councilwoman Woods.
I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. One comment that I would like to say, there has been a lot of stuff going back and forth on social media about us. But one thing I do want to say, yes, we ran on the one Louisburg, because I come up in a time where Louisburg was divided. It was this side and that side. And yes, I will always advocate for one, my community, and two, my town. I will always advocate for education, recreation, my community, and my town. Yes, there have been some improvements on the south side because at first it looked like crap. The potholes, the drainage, and it had been unkept for so long. So yes, I said something, been saying something. So now we don't have to ride through potholes and have our ditches and our water and our roads flooded. So yes, I did advocate. I will continue to advocate for my community and for my town with always the best interest at heart. That is me, that's what I'm going to be. And when you write something about me, make sure you put Councilwoman Woods went hard for her community and her town. Whenever you write and you post a picture, make sure it's on the good right side and make sure that you put Councilwoman Woods will always stand with her community and her town. And I stand for recreation and education. And with that being said, I want to thank Terry for coming in to my class with my 5th graders and teaching them about the workings of a city, because we've been doing that in our curriculum. And I want my students to know that there are things outside the classroom. I want them to know the workings of the town that they live in. And I want to thank Terry for coming in, and our 5th graders are building their own city out of boxes. Thank you, Terry. I truly appreciate that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Dr. Stowe.
I feel like I'm following the Child Act. I couldn't reiterate better than what Councilman Wood just said. I ran on that platform at One Louisburg. To me, again, it is not campaign slogan, it is a pledge. And I'm very disgusted by the comments I've been seeing on some social media deriding the certain parts of our town. I'm proud of the town of Louisburg. I've been here for 40 years. I couldn't have picked a better place to raise my family. I have no intentions of going anywhere. Last week, I did attend School of Governments training, the Essentials of Municipal Governments. Learned a whole heck of a lot about how to run a town. Couple of things that I've been seeing on public media that I want to reiterate here. The School of Government clearly said what we are doing is correct. This council is following the public meetings law. Public meetings law says that we cannot be together as a majority of this board. The majority of this board is 4 members, right? Unless we have a vacancy, and we do not. So if we meet for 3 or less, that is an allowed private meeting under the public meetings law. And one thing that was pointed out that I thought was really interesting, they pointed out that as citizens, we have a right to do anything unless there's a law that says we can't. But as a town council, it's the opposite. We do not have the right to do anything unless there's a law saying that we can. And as you've heard here today, some of the things that we would like to do, we can't do because we're not authorized to do it. We can't fix this log truck problem because it's a state street.
We only have the authority in the general statute.
We have to go to the DOT to get them to cooperate. We've already asked them about making changes on Main Street to improve the traffic safety. They denied us. They didn't agree with us. So we are somewhat hamstrung in what we can do. But nonetheless, we will keep working the best we can. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next item is the closed session to go in per ordinance 143-318-11A-6 for personnel. Council, citizens, this is where we'll be going into closed session. If you want to take this opportunity to leave, you can, and we'll be back after closed session. If you decide to leave, I want to thank you for coming out this evening, and remember to come out again next month at our meeting. We always meet on the second Tuesday of each month. Thank you for coming out tonight. Could I get a motion to go into closed session? It's been moved and properly second that we go into closed session for discussion of personnel. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Sure. All right. Can I get a motion to go in, come back into open session? It's been moved and properly second that we come back into open session. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. In our closed session, it was to let you know that we will begin interviewing for our fire chief starting next week. And also Captain Lincoln will be, as a result of Chief Albert resigning as of the end of January, moving Captain Lincoln into the chief of police slot, the interim basis. So beginning February 1st. So that was the decision. Okay. Motion to adjourn. It's been moved and properly second that we adjourn. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Aye. Good job.
That's good.